All right, so a close Thursday night football game. I wouldn't exactly call it a thriller, but it was one that was down to the wire. The Los Angeles Rams advanced to 8-6 on the season with a 12-6 victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Not a single touchdown scored. You don't see that often anymore in today's NFL. I want to talk about why the Rams are just ultimately a very, very dangerous team as they progress forward. Talk about some of their directions in this video. And I want to talk about the Niners and why I think paying Brock Purdy this offseason would be a pretty big mistake for this team. As well, at the end of the video, I want to give you guys a little bit of a channel update for the subscribers. Starting with the game itself, 12-6, not much to talk about. Nothing but field goals in this contest. A defensive game for sure. The pass rushes were active tonight. Quarterbacks were uncomfortable. Puka Nacua clearly looked like the best skill position player on the field tonight, without a doubt. Still making an impact, 7 for 97, but Cooper Kupp, not a single catch in this game. You don't see that too often. George Kittle, 4 for 61. Debo, 3 for 16. Juwan Jennings, 2 for 31. Like, just not a very active game. There's some defensive games in the NFL that are still entertaining. This was a boring game. I'm going to be honest. It was a pretty boring game, but the results of it, I think, are not boring. For the Los Angeles Rams, they go from winning a 44-42 shootout with Josh Allen and the Bills to winning a 12-6 Thursday night football game on the road against the Niners in which no touchdowns are scored. A team that can win both of those games and has won 7 of their last 9 games and could be going into the playoffs really hot, winners of, maybe like 10 of their last 13 or 11 of their last 13, whatever it may turn out to be, or, 11 of their last 14. That is a dangerous team. That is a dangerous team, especially when it's headed by a veteran quarterback in Matt Stafford, who I still think is a top 5 thrower of the football. Sean McVay, you have the weapons core of Puka, of Cooper Kupp, of Kyron Williams, a defensive line that's starting to get active. Jared Verse, who's your current odds-on favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. The team's got pieces. They're getting hot at the right time. They have experience. They've gone on a Super Bowl run before. The Rams suddenly become very, very dangerous. And I mentioned this in the tier list video, but their destiny is in their own hands. They play Seattle week 18. And as long as they go win for win with Seattle the rest of the way, they'll win the NFC West. If they beat Seattle in that week 18 game. The Rams are 8-6. Seattle is 8-5 and hosts Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. There's a very real possibility that at the end of this week, the Rams and Seahawks are both 8-6, and the Rams get the tiebreaker. The Rams went from not dead in the water, but barely breathing, to winning a good stretch of games again. They did this last year. That's how they made that playoff push. They played Detroit in that playoff game. And I said it last year. If they beat Detroit, don't be shocked if they go on a run. And if they had beaten Detroit and played Tampa, I think they would have beaten Tampa the same way Detroit did. And man, you get them versus San Francisco in an NFC Championship game last year. Shanahan, McVay, 3rd time that year. Like, all bets are off. The Rams were a close loss away from Detroit in the wild card round, yes, but I think they had the makings last year to potentially go on a Super Bowl run. And they certainly have the makings again this year. Because when you look at the top tier offensive personnel, it's up there with Philly and Detroit. It is. And you probably trust their quarterback and head coach even more. Now, the defense isn't as strong. The overall roster isn't. But to go on a run in the playoffs where they'll be hosting a playoff game if they win the division, like, the Rams are scary. And a 12-6 victory isn't flashy, but it shows, like, tough, grinded out divisional game, end of the year, rainy weather. We pulled through. 4th quarter, 9-0 victory. They moved the ball in the 4th quarter. They did what was necessary to win the game. And when you have a team that can do what it takes to win, whether it's 44 points against Josh Allen or 4 field goals on the road against a divisional opponent, that is a scary, scary team. And again, Stafford, McVay, Kupp, Nakua, Kyron Williams, an emerging defensive line with Verse and Fisk, a secondary that's starting to come together a little bit and find their way. The Rams could make some noise. For the 49ers, their playoff hopes for this season are over. An injury-riddled year ends in what will be probably a 4th place finish in the NFC West for San Francisco after making it to the Super Bowl last year. They've dealt with injuries all year. Ayuk obviously tore the ACL. He was done for the year. Debo missed time. McCaffrey missed time, came back. Now he's done for the year. Trent Williams is probably done for the year at this point. Bosa in and out of the lineup. Hufanga, Greenlaw just came back tonight. Like the 49ers, I mean, you talk about the injuries, and then some of the players on the team had some really tragic family situations going on. So it was a kind of just a year from hell for the 49ers. And I don't think that by any means they're just done and they're bottom of the barrel. But I would evaluate maybe weighing the options at quarterback this offseason. And I'm not saying trade Brock Purdy, cut Brock Purdy or anything, but I don't think I'd be so quick to extend him. Last offseason, we saw teams like the Jaguars, the Cowboys, and the Dolphins all give their quarterbacks massive $55 million plus extensions. And all 3 of those teams are going to miss the playoffs. Some of it due to injury to their quarterbacks, but some of it also due to play. And just because a guy's eligible for extension doesn't mean because he plays quarterback, you should throw $55 to $60 million a year at him. Especially if you're the 49ers and you have Shanahan, who's freaking taking Jimmy Garoppolo to the Super Bowl. Like, you roll the dice one more year with Brock Purdy and see if you can get somewhere in the middle of 2023 and 2024. 2023, it's like an Avengers cast of guys. 2024, everybody's getting hurt. If you could get somewhere in the middle of that and see what Purdy could provide, take that additional year. Yeah, he could leave in free agency. He could, you run that risk. But why would he want to? If you see whatever you need to see from Brock Purdy next year to give him $55, $60 million a year, he'll probably stay. But I wouldn't commit to it this offseason just because you can. A guy who hasn't proven that without the perfect circumstances he could win for your team, I wouldn't pay him. And I said the same thing about Dak, and I said the same thing about Tua. Trevor, I understood a little bit more just because it felt like last year got ruined because of an injury to him. And the year before, he had shown constant progression. But again, there was more of a back history there with being the number 1 pick and such a good prospect. And again, even that contract's regrettable at this point. But for Brock Purdy, I don't think I'd be comfortable giving him 55, 60. If he's willing to take 45 and you're like, hey, we can get him on a discount potentially, sure, I get that move. But top of market price, no way. The guy went 14 of 31 tonight, 142 yards, a bad interception, a 45 passer rating. Like, that's not a $60 million a year guy. The 49ers got a lot to look in the mirror and think about when it comes to this roster. Not just Brock Purdy, but I wouldn't be this, like, how could you have any confidence in paying this guy that much money? With what we've seen this year, I can't be like, oh, this is the guy. Definitively. Again, I'm not saying rush him out the door and trade him, although I'd consider, hey, somebody wanted to give me a first and 2 seconds for him, and I got Shanahan, and I got to fill out a roster. Hey, man, everybody's got a price. So I definitely consider it there, but for the 49ers, just a banged up season. They'll be back, though. Smart ownership, great coaching, good pieces on that team, but they got some retooling to do, that's for sure. So those are my thoughts on Rams 49ers. A little channel update here. I got some things going on in the family, personal lives. And, you know, I'm not looking for sympathy or anything in the comment section. I just don't know how active I'll be in terms of a consistent basis of videos. I'm going to try and get the instant reactions, the tier list, and the weekly predictions out. And, you know, we're headed toward the NFL playoffs, so I want to get a lot of content out for you guys as much as possible. But two of some of the closer family members in my life dealing with some health issues, holiday season approaches, want to just prioritize spending time with them, because you know, you don't know really how much time you got left, how much quality time, etc. A lot that goes into it. But if there wasn't a video for a couple days on the channel, I didn't want anybody to think like I was just being lazy about it or whatever. I just wanted to explain the situation that everybody's on the same page. If you're a prayers person, I'll take them. If you're not, you just got a better understanding of the situation as we progress forward. But I appreciate all of your support. If you're new to the channel, you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, everybody. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.